to Oceanography News. In episode 7, we go back to the Amoc, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, with our first story at a Woods Hole Oceanographic institution. Can looking backward help predict the future of a critical ocean current? New models developed by WHOI scientists found that the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or Amoc, has not declined over the past 6 decades, a finding that contradicts other studies. Here you can see a graphic of the all-important Amoc as it carries warm water north, sinks it, and brings it back down as cold water. And this is a massive part of the Earth's natural cooling system. The story, which ran in the Washington Post, is a key ocean current system slowing down. A new study adds to the debate. A team of researchers reconstructed a critical ocean current system called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or Amoc, in computer models and found no evidence of long-term weakening over the past 60 years.
Extraordinary. Extraordinary and disturbing, that is. You recall what you said about how polar melting might disrupt the North Atlantic current?
Yes.
Well, I think it's happening.
In the movie The Day After Tomorrow, the Atlantic Ocean's main current system is disrupted and sets off a chain of disastrous events, from monster storms to an ice age across the northern hemisphere. While Hollywood has a flair for exaggeration, scientists are generally concerned about the severity and timing when this ocean pattern could collapse, debating whether it's already started to weaken. Some studies have indicated a recent slowdown, but a new study adds evidence to the other side of the controversy. A team of researchers reconstructed this critical ocean circulation system called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or Amoc, in computer models. They found no evidence of long-term weakening over the past 60 years, contradicting a popular study from a few years ago. The results don't mean that it won't destabilize in the future, though. With climate models predicting some kind of weakening this century, we still fully expect the Amoc to decline in the future, said Nicholas Foucault, a co-author of the paper. If the Amoc is more stable than previously thought, he said, it is good news because it gives us time to act. Struggling to recreate the past, the Amoc is like a conveyor belt that transports water, nutrients, and heat throughout the Atlantic Ocean. If that conveyor belt becomes drastically weaker, the effects could be significant, although not quite like Hollywood depicted. Areas like Southeast Asia and parts of Africa could experience unreliable rain. Farming and fisheries could be disrupted. Disease could migrate to unprotected populations. Average temperatures in Western Europe could cool down, but could somewhat be countered by global warming. Without that transport of heat from the atmosphere and the ocean, the band of hospital latitudes to society would be much narrower, said Foucault, a physical oceanographer at the University of Georgia. I think about migration patterns of people, climate refugees, and agriculture and disease. These dire consequences motivate many scientists to study the system and assess when it might greatly weaken, but it's not an easy task. For one, moorings and buoys in the Atlantic Ocean have been collecting direct observations of the circulation system only since 2004. As a result, scientists must look at other features that could be a fingerprint for the Amoc. But the second catch is that the stand-in measurements aren't perfect indicators of what's going on with the ocean currents. The most prominent data set used to indirectly measure the Amoc is sea surface temperatures. Previous studies, notably one in 2018, reconstructed the Amoc over decades using sea surface temperature data in the top-tier climate models of that time. They found a slowdown in the circulation. They were able to link an observed cold blob in the North Atlantic to a decline in the Amoc. Initially, Foucault and his colleagues attempted to recreate this past research by using sea surface temperature data with newer climate models that have higher resolution and include more processes to better represent Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and ecosystems. It didn't work too well. They could see some connection between sea surface temperature and past Amoc behavior, but the relationship was too weak to provide a solid conclusion. The cold blob may not be caused by a decline in the Amoc. The actual mechanism that links the sea surface temperature to the Amoc is not as direct of a link as one might expect, Foucault said. When the Amoc changes, you would expect to see a change in sea surface temperature, not necessarily an immediate cold blob. Going back to the drawing board, the team looked at what other parts of North Atlantic's heat budget might be significantly affected if the Amoc were to change. They saw links between the Amoc and heat exchanges between the air and ocean called air-sea fluxes. If the Amoc strengthens, more heat is transported north and released in the atmosphere, said co-author Jens Terhaar, who was a postdoctoral student at WHOI Oceanographic Institution when conducting the research. If it weakens, less heat is moved northward and less heat is absorbed into the atmosphere. Using air-sea flux data and calculations in the North Atlantic, the team reconstructed the Amoc from 1963 to 2017 and found no weakening when averaged on the scale of decades. They did find variability on smaller timescales, but they chalked those up to natural changes in the atmosphere. Compared to the previous studies, Terhaar said, "It's not that we corrected a wrong assumption." He said the assumption was fine based on the available data and models at the time, emphasizing that scientific understanding is always evolving. But Terhaar warns people not to get a false sense of security just because the Amoc hasn't seemed to decline. Multiple studies predict a weakening of the Amoc sometime this century. In October, 44 ocean experts wrote an open letter urging for more urgent climate mitigation to minimize the risks of a weakened or collapsed system. The timing of a complete collapse is still debated, but even some weakening could have problematic effects. I hope people don't think climate change is just not happening or it's not as bad as we think it is, because that's not what this is about, Terhaar said. It doesn't mean that it's going to stay stable in the future. An ongoing debate, is it slowing? Stefan Rahmstorf, who is an author of the 2018 paper showing the Amoc is weakening, said he's not so sure this new result is more reliable than previous ones, including his study or indirect paleoclimate data. For one, he said the newer climate models struggle to reproduce past temperature evolution well, compared with observed data, and he thinks the older model might be better suited for recreating the Amoc. Second, he said the observed air-sea heat flux data used in the model isn't as robust as sea surface temperatures, so the study authors used some calculations to fill in gaps temporally. Both Terhaar and Foucault understand the limitations of the dataset, but think it's more a sensitive fingerprint of the Amoc and should be a better indicator. Overall, Rahmstorf has not changed his assessment that the Amoc is weakening. The only way to certainly know if it is destabilizing through direct observations, but since we don't have direct current measurements going far enough back in time, some uncertainty about that remains, said Rahmstorf, a professor at the University of Potsdam. Other scientists who were not involved in either study said the new research is a step forward in helping to understand the past behavior and where it may be headed. Quote, "We're seeing a lot of studies seeking to determine whether the Amoc is slowing down. There is no clear consensus," unquote, said Fiamma Staraneo, a researcher at Harvard University. She complimented the study for not only appropriately evaluating past approaches to address this question, but also providing a more robust indicator of Amoc behavior. Climate scientist Peter Ditlevsen said the study was a valuable contribution in understanding whether the Amoc had been declining or not. To him, it was no surprise that the air-sea exchanges worked better as a fingerprint of Amoc behavior than sea surface temperatures. It's a more direct physical connection. The whole motor of the Amoc is the heat transferred to the atmosphere, which cools the water and has other effects deeper into the ocean. Our next story comes out of the Florida Institute of Oceanography, caught on camera. During recent deep-sea missions, remotely operated vehicle ROV Taurus had not one but two unexpected encounters with North Atlantic swordfish, putting the ROV to the test. The footage showcases the raw power and instinct of these animals. You can see in these videos that the swordfish strike the ROV. Navy develops highly persistent undersea hydrophone system powered by ocean temperatures. The Naval Postgraduate School (NPS) has developed an autonomous underwater float that can monitor and transmit oceanographic and underwater acoustic data near indefinitely and in near real time, known as the Persistent Smart Acoustic Profiler (PSAP Voyager). It is powered by temperature differences in the ocean, providing enough energy to run its instrumentation for far longer than other non-wired undersea eavesdropping hydrophones currently in operation. Such an innovation could have big implications for undersea sensing and detection. Capabilities like PSAP Voyager could prove doubly useful if operationalized for tactical means at a time when the U.S. Navy fleet is being eclipsed by the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy (PLAN), providing a highly flexible and rapidly deployable hydrophone system that can persist for long periods without any infrastructure could prove invaluable in this context. The Navy announced PSAP Voyager's milestone this week. PSAP Voyager generates enough electricity via ocean energy thermal conversion to power onboard computing capabilities, processing the reams of data picked up by its passive acoustics, according to the company, which partnered with NPS in 2022 for the Voyager effort. Quote, "The new PSAP's Voyager's ability to generate power leapfrogs previous generations of autonomous profiling floats that are limited by battery power and enables acoustic data to be collected in real time anywhere in the world's oceans nearly indefinitely," the company said last month. PSAP Voyager, testing off Hawaii late last year, delivered troves of oceanographic and passive acoustic data that NPS undersea warfare, meteorology, and oceanography students are now combing through. According to the school, the Navy's announcement did not say whether Voyager will be put into operational use anytime soon. It remains unclear whether the Navy's underwater monitoring force already relies on such thermal power conversion for any of its such systems, and the silent service is generally secretive about its capabilities. SeaTrek website indicate that it's working on projects for harvesting thermal energy for low-power Arctic sensors and data communications for the Office of Naval Research, as well as long-endurance fast profiling floats for the Pentagon's futuristic Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. A system like PSAP Voyager could be a big help to the undersea warfare community when it comes to persistent underwater surveillance. While it remains unclear precisely how far the PSAP Voyager can transmit its data, or how it does so at all, the crews could conceivably drop off hydrophones at various locations, allowing the Navy to monitor underwater activity without a ship, submarine, or drone having to tend to the system regularly, or without elaborate infrastructure on the seafloor. Passive acoustic listening has many operational and research applications in the Navy. John Joseph, the principal investigator and faculty associate for the research at the NPS, said in a statement last month, "The autonomy and long endurance of SeaTrek's PSAP Voyager provides an unprecedented opportunity to collect acoustic data in real time for very long periods in remote areas without the expense and logistical tail of ship support. Traditional hydrophones are positioned in a towed array and dragged by a submarine or surface ship through the water. Others are situated at depth by a ship or are placed on the seafloor and connected via fiber optic cable to ashore stations. But such deployments require dedicated vessels and other infrastructure to maintain those missions." Theoretically, PSAP can be deployed once, communicate its acoustic information to remote operators in near real time for limitless periods without requiring retrieval to offload data. Swapping batteries or data storage or replacement, Joseph said, "These characteristics greatly reduce lifecycle costs of a continuous acoustic monitoring effort." PSAP Voyager's arrival comes as the Navy has in recent years poured money into unmanned undersea vehicles and buoys, as well as network communications and data sharing infrastructure to support enhanced monitoring of environmental changes in the Arctic. But aside from such scientific needs, similar systems could also help the Navy monitor adversaries in an increasing strategic region. The Navy has also sought to develop other fixed, persistent, deep-water active anti-submarine surveillance systems. While the service has not provided many details about such efforts, the Affordable Mobile Anti-Submarine Warfare Surveillance System, AMAS, would involve large sonar arrays attached to buoys that ships could drop into the ocean from inside a standard shipping container. You can click the link in the article to read TWZ's reporting on those efforts, which have come as Navy brass continue to warn about increasing submarine activity from potential adversaries, particularly Russian subs, operating more regularly off the east coast of the United States. Meanwhile, China has in recent years also developed undersea sensor networks that Beijing says are for scientific purposes that could be used to track foreign submarine activity in the South China Sea and the East China Sea. As previously reported by TWZ, the Chinese plan envisioned a number of unspecified sensors dwelling on the ocean floor, but unlike PSAP Voyager, those sensors were to be connected via optical cables to a monitoring and processing facility in Shanghai. The devices will be able to provide real-time, high-definition, multiple interface, and three-dimensional observations. State-run outlet CCTV reported in 2019. The U.S. had its highly classified SOSUS network of HydroPhones on the seafloor around the globe during the Cold War, with elements of the program now being used for scientific research. Similar modernized systems remain and operate under classified programs today. Regardless, the possibility that buoys passed on PSAP Voyager's technology could help the Navy rapidly deploy persistent underwater listening networks wherever they needed is clearly a highly promising proposition. The next video comes from Amazing Nature, and this is a close encounter with some sea wolves.
Whoa, beautiful, beautiful. Hello, 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 gorgeous. How are you? Hello, darling. Hello. Look at you guys. Wanted to say hello. Oh, come on. Hey. Beautiful. Hey, look at you, darling. Whoa, hello, beautiful. Hello. Hello, gorgeous. How are you? Hello, beautiful. Oh, come to play. Oh, hello. Oh, beautiful. Sweetie. Look at you. Wow.
The next story comes from the Florida Institute of Oceanography and DEEP, which are partnering to advance aquatic exploration. A new public-private partnership seeks to expand human access into ocean environments by fostering deep-sea exploration and developing new technologies for the state of Florida and beyond. USF's Florida Institute of Oceanography is partnering with DEEP, an international design and engineering organization that is working to make the marine environment more habitable for humans by establishing subsea stations. Through a Memorandum of Understanding agreement with the university, DEEP intends to design a combination of subsea workforce development and research programs that align with its pioneering vision. These programs will be developed in conjunction with FIO's academic and marine science infrastructure in order to enhance research opportunities for FIO's consortium of universities and institutions throughout the state. This partnership represents an exciting frontier in ocean exploration and human adaptation, said Monty Graham, director of FIO. By combining FIO's vast network of academic expertise with DEEP's cutting-edge approach to subsea living and research, we can unlock new possibilities for sustainable ocean use, innovation, and education. The ocean holds untapped potential, and together we're making it more accessible than ever. This new alliance will further research on humans' ability to live and work in the deep sea, as well as adopt artificial intelligence technology in subsea environments. By advancing AI-driven technologies, the collaboration aims to enhance autonomous systems and decision-making capabilities in underwater exploration, which aligns with USF's ongoing AI research. We are thrilled to announce this powerful partnership between USF and DEEP. Together, we can develop innovative solutions to undersea research and technology, opening new frontiers related to environmental and human performance research, said Prasant Mohapatra, the USF Provost and Executive Vice President. This collaboration leverages our unique location and builds on FIO's history of collaboration to create new opportunities for interdisciplinary research across USF's academic and research enterprise. This includes numerous entities such as the College of Marine Science, USF Health, the College of Engineering and College of Artificial Intelligence, Cybersecurity, and Computing. We look forward to the groundbreaking advancements that will emerge from this partnership. Overall, the collaboration seeks to provide greater access to and understanding of the marine environment through Florida, the southeastern U.S., the Gulf, and the Caribbean Sea. It will also drive advancements in marine science and technology from the public, private, and non-profit sectors. The next short video comes out of Ios. It's a glimpse of deep sea life from the South Shetland Trench, rare footage of a species of Antarctic squid moving effortlessly through the abyss. Was captured using a scientific lander at 2,000 meters depth. Filmed by #InkFishExplore as part of ongoing research into deep ocean ecosystem in Antarctica. Check it out with Inkfish. Next story is from the deep, deep ocean, from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. How do these giant red-tipped tube worms at hydrothermal vents get from place to place in the deep sea? And how do their larvae, captured on video by #ROVJason, survive the trip in the cold, dark ocean? At active vents, hot water mixes with seawater to form plumes that rise until they cool off about 200 meters, roughly 650 feet, above the sea floor. This vast moving water forms a sort of larval superhighway that helps vent animals colonize new areas. Learn more about how vent animals survive and thrive in these extreme environments at the link in the show notes. Next up, we have a video from Saronic Technologies displaying some of their new USV technology.
At Saronic, we're charting a new course for maritime supremacy. We're developing and manufacturing the most intelligent autonomous surface vessels at the speed and scale needed to address this pivotal moment in national security. Global maritime security requires integrated fleets of manned and unmanned vessels, extending reach and capabilities while minimizing risk to personnel and missions. By combining rapid advancements in technology with modern manufacturing techniques, we're building ASVs to serve a variety of missions and deter global conflict. Founded in 2022, we've already launched multiple novel vessels, stood up 150,000 square feet of manufacturing space in Austin, Texas, and assembled a team of over 150 dedicated professionals, engineers, shipbuilders, and veterans. In a world where maritime dominance defines global power, strength is in numbers. The U.S. was once at the forefront of naval supremacy, and today we face a daunting challenge. But at Saronic, we're turning the tide of naval warfare and creating a safer tomorrow, one vessel at a time.
Story out of the Schmidt Ocean Institute. The greatest migration on Earth doesn't take place on land, it happens in the ocean. It happens every day, driven by the movement of zooplankton toward the surface. This movement influences many animals through the ocean's layers. According to NOAA, scientists call this process diel vertical migration, and they believe it is primarily driven by light. The abundance of food and predators, as well as temperature, plays a factor. Excessive light, or irradiance, the density of radiation on a surface, can be deadly for animals like the paraphila, also known as the helmet jellyfish. This invertebrate's reddish pigment is photosensitive and becomes lethal when exposed to light. Yet these jellyfish still follow their food toward the surface. Without eyes that detect light, how do they sense its presence before it harms them? According to our friends at WHOI Oceanographic Institution, paraphilia possesses a simple sensory bulb that detects changes in light. In a 2017 paper in the Journal of Plankton Research, researchers used a remotely operated vehicle with cameras to study the light-mediated migration of these jellyfish in the Norwegian fjords where the animals are abundant. They found that the jellyfish have a range of preferred light levels and use the presence of light as a directional cue for navigation and positioning in the different layers of the water column. These authors speculate that changing ocean conditions could lead to a shift where the darkening in the water column could create habitats more suitable for tactile predators such as jellyfish rather than for usual visual predators such as fish. This paraphila footage was collected by ROV Sebastian pilots during the #Antarctic Climate Connections expedition. Unveiling secrets of Atlantic Ocean through spectral fingerprints of phytoplankton. A new study reveals the optical properties or spectral fingerprints of phytoplankton in the ocean, providing a valuable data set for remote sensing. Scientists, marine ecologists, biogeochemical modelers, and climate scientists alike. PML's Dr. Thomas Jordan, Earth observation scientist in ocean optics, has led a new study resulting in a unique and valuable dataset that combines the optical properties of Atlantic seawater and phytoplankton pigment concentrations. The decadal dataset provides a new resource for scientists to ground truth data from existing ocean color satellite sensors that detect markers such as chlorophyll pigment found in phytoplankton. The dataset can also be used to develop new phytoplankton algorithms for next-generation satellites. In turn, increased confidence in satellite observations of phytoplankton enables improved monitoring of ocean health and global carbon cycle, which feeds into climate science. Phytoplankton are a crucial part of the marine ecosystem as they drive photosynthesis and play a significant role in absorbing carbon dioxide in seawater that is drawn down from the atmosphere and sequestering it into the deep ocean. In so doing, phytoplankton produces about 50% of the oxygen on Earth. Phytoplankton also form the base of the marine food web, providing food for life forms higher up the chain, and its productivity are indicative of the wider health of our ocean. Ocean color data obtained by satellites helps monitor phytoplankton by indicating their abundance through the presence of chlorophyll, a pigment that gives them a greenish hue and an identifiable spectral fingerprint. The greener the ocean appears, the higher the concentration of phytoplankton, allowing scientists to track plankton blooms and overall ocean health. The surface water data was collected over 9 Atlantic Meridional transect AMT research cruises between 2009 and 2019 on RRS Discovery, James Cook and James Clark Ross. Each cruise spanned about 40 days and collected data from 50 degrees north to 50 degrees south, crossing 8 distinct ocean regions. Between the UK and the southern tip of South America, including the remote and rarely sampled Atlantic gyres. Drone image of the RRS James Cook used for sampling on AMT 19, 22, and 31. Thanks to Marshall McKinnon, RRS James Cook POD, for the drone image. NASA VIIRS Ocean Color Composite image during AMT 27. The blue areas in image showed the northern and southern oligotrophic desert gyres, thanks to NEODACE for producing the satellite image. AMT is one of the few research projects that measures optical properties to fiducial reference measurement standards in the blue ocean oligotrophic waters of the Atlantic gyres. These data are crucial in validating ocean color satellite imagery at low chlorophyll concentrations. MT-31 was my first time crossing the Atlantic on a research cruise, and seeing the data collection in real time gave me a much deeper appreciation for the biodiversity and optical signatures of the ocean provinces. Having been run for 30 years, AMT is truly a unique scientific program. It is only via the efforts of multiple scientists on multiple cruises that we can produce decadal scale data sets, such as in this paper. Francesco Nenciole operating the semi-autonomous inherent optical property flow-through system on AMT 27. Thank you so much for watching D2 News. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video, and make sure to go over to D2 News on d-2.com/D2 News, and definitely bookmark our page for all the future updates.